your website and leave without reaching out because of a lack of transparency. David Abbott, I had him on the podcast, Why Customers Leave and How to Win Them Back, right, his book. He said that in there. You'll never know the people who never reached out, who considered you. Remember I said before they swiped left on Tinder? I think it was you told me. I swiped left on Tinder, right? You'll never know the ones you got swiped left. You'll never know the ones you were on their consciousness. You were in their radar. And they said no. And you never knew it. You never knew it because they passed you by. 2, full pricing. Full pricing on your website. Complete transparency, full pricing. This is what it is, this is how much it is. Price shouldn't be an issue. If you get an inquiry, price shouldn't be an issue. You told them how much it is. But I've had people put full pricing on their website, tell me it was there, tell me they're being completely transparent, and then I go to their website and say, well, you are, and you're not. Because to figure out how much it is, I have to go to this chart, and I have to get my per person. And then I have to go to this page and figure out what the rental fee is. And then I have to go over here to see what the ceremony was. And then the footnote said that the service charge was this. So it's there if you know what you're looking for. So was it really transparent? And the other thing is they might price shop you without you getting a chance to speak to them. So that's the other thing that you risk. They have what they think they need. That's what I said earlier, right? They think they need your pricing. Here's my pricing. So now they shop you against someone else, and they're shopping your what and your price, not your why. They're not shopping your results. They're shopping the services and the products, and that's a challenge. But again, if it works for you, it works. So here's an example of a DJ. Puts their prices. They did list most popular in the middle, right? But it's a what. Like, how many of you in this room, how many DJs could do DJ MC for 6 hours, cocktail reception dinner, basic lighting in the DJ area, uplight? Not necessarily for that price. How many of you could fulfill that? The answer is every one of you, right? Because there's nothing special about that. It's services. So they're selling the what and the how much, which means somebody else can sell it cheaper. Here is a photo booth, same thing, right? They tell you how much the photo booth, how many hours, right? Again, I don't think they should be selling by hours, because that photo booth, whether it's out for 2, 3, or 4 hours, can't be anywhere else. So there you go. This is the menu I was telling you about. So there she says, Thursday, $11,999 for up to 80 guests. Friday, Sunday, Saturday, right? There you go. So Saturday evening at $20,999 for up to 140 guests. Up to 140 guests. The way we're selling this is, it's going to be $21,000. You have 80 guests, it's $21,000 on a Saturday night. You don't want to pay that? Go to Thursday, you can pay $11,999 for exactly the same thing for your 80 guests. Because she's saying, we call it revenue minimums in the industry. They don't know what a revenue minimum is. She's saying $21,000 is what I want for a Saturday night. And then over that, she'll tell you how much it is. I think it's up on the page there, how much it is. Now, interestingly, she used to say includes tax and service. She had a different pricing on it. And I contacted her. I said, I see you don't say tax and service anymore. She said, oh, I forgot to add that. I said, why don't you just say includes service and not tax? She said, but it does. I said, well, hear me out. People understand tax. We understand sales tax, right? I said, we don't charge sales tax. We collect sales tax for the government, right? We don't charge tax. It's not our money. We're taking it, passing it through. We don't add to it, we don't take away, we just take the money, give it to the government. You understand sales tax. What you don't understand is service charge. And the reason is, what else do you buy that has a service charge? Tickets, right? But a service charge on a ticket is different than a service charge for a caterer, right? So you really don't understand what is it. I love to go to a catering conference and get 5, 6, 7 caterers together. And I say, so hey, each of you, tell me what your service charge is. You start seeing people tap dancing like, well, it's sort of, it's, no. It is this. What is it? Tell me what it is. It gratuities? And someone's like, well, don't give me well. Tell me, is it? So you wonder why couples don't understand it. Because nothing else we buy has that. Just like shipping and handling with the handling. Like, isn't that part of your profit there? Now you charge me for handling or like touch the box? Right? We don't understand that kind of stuff. It just sounds like these scam things, right? So I said, why don't you not include tax, but include service? So she left the price the way it was, and the very next day, a couple reached out in the morning, actually a bride reached out in the morning, and said, wanted information. She went back and forth, like I taught you before, with the short messages. Got her to come in with her fiance that day at noon. Had a tour, made the sale. She said it's going to be this price, just add sales tax. They said, okay. She wrote to me and she said, thank you, I just made another $1,600 on that wedding. Because she was going to include the tax, and now she wasn't. I said, yeah, people understand tax. So not only is she making more money, she's making money on top of that, and she's doing her 120 to 130 weddings a year, and now, if she's now making an extra $1,600 times 120 weddings a year, I don't know how much that is, somebody's got to calculate, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, just by changing the wording on that. But she includes the service because others don't, so now she looks more transparent, the prices are right on the website, she doesn't care who doesn't book her if she books 120 weddings a year. And that's the point. It doesn't matter who doesn't book you, it only matters who does, and if you fill in your calendar, who cares? On Google Analytics, there's something called a bounce rate. Somebody goes to your website, leaves without looking at any other page. Some people care about the bounce rate. The average across all websites in the world is something like 40%. Mine's over 80%. And I don't care. And I don't care because my calendar and my P&L are fine. If my calendar is full and my profit and loss statement looks really good, who cares what the number is? I'd only care if those numbers weren't good and wonder why people are leaving my website. So, number 3 is your starting price. I hate starting prices. I don't want you to use a starting price in almost every case. I don't want you to do it because it's the cheapest thing you have. How many of you want to sell the cheapest thing you have? Anybody? I hope not. You're not making money on the cheapest thing. You could be. You should be, but not on a Saturday night wedding season, right? So you're starting from the bottom. Isn't it harder to tell people it's more and more and more? Don't you hate that when somebody gives you a price and then says, oh, that one's going to be more. Oh, that's going to be more, and that's going to be more. You're selling from the bottom up. Don't you feel like you're getting nickel and dime or bait and switch or whatever you want to call it? The only time selling from the bottom up works is when there isn't a lot of up to go. When there isn't a big spread, then it's okay to say it starts here. But when it can go up, you're hurting yourself, not just them, by saying this is it. Because if you only hear one number, it's the number they expect to pay. This guy did a variation of it. Here's a DJ. He said, wedding packages begin at $17.95 with my most popular package, $24.95. But he doesn't say where it could go. So what he said is, well, I started $17.95, but you're going to pay more than that. That's the implication here. So I don't like this. I don't like starting prices. It's a variation, but I really don't like this. But how many times do you go to somebody's website and it says prices start at, and you're wondering, how much am I going to pay? That's the point. You don't know what you're going to pay if they start there. You only know it if we're being more transparent, or we actually show you where it could go. My favorite way to put pricing on the website without giving full transparency is called price range. And that's because we're doing what's called anchoring. We put a low, we put a high, and we say this is the field we're playing in. Not everybody. This is where we play. It's like if I said, how much is a car? What kind of car? Right? New car, used car? You can't answer the question because it's too broad. I just said I saw Rolls Royces in the parking lot, right? $400,000, $500,000. Okay, but if I said, how much is a Ford? Oh, okay. Well, a Ford goes from, what is it, Fiesta or whatever. They don't sell cars anymore. They don't sell trucks, right? It goes from here to a King Ranch, whatever, right? Okay, it's still a range, but it doesn't go to $500,000. Although I did hear they're coming out with a new Mustang that was about $300,000. Very limited, very, very limited edition. Okay. What's your range? They want to know what field you're playing in. So, have you ever thought of, can you give me an idea? Can you just give me an idea of what it is? You don't have enough details to give them a price, but you want an idea. You've thought that, right? Can you give me an idea? Well, sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. But the truth is, everybody in this room has a price range. You've done low, you've done high, you've done in the middle, and most people are somewhere in the middle. You reduce the tire kickers when you give them a range. You say if our range is from here to here and they're way down here, then they don't reach out. Isn't that better? Isn't it better if the people that can't afford you don't reach out because they're not wasting their time? Forget about wasting your time. You're wasting their time. You're getting them all excited only for them to find out, whoa, 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 whoa. I can't afford that. Well, that's your fault. If you gave them no price up front, and you get them all excited about doing the wedding, and they have no idea, and then when you tell them how much, and it's way, way more than their budget, well, that's your fault because you didn't give them an idea. Don't be afraid to give them an idea. This is where price range is your friend. This is, again, I put on my left brain analytical hat, and I say, okay, let's get that spreadsheet. Let's just sort it low to high. Now, we can play the Olympics. We throw out the real low one because, you know, that was your friend's cousin on Thursday or something, right? And then we throw out the top one because every once in a while you get somebody that just buys everything and then more than everything and, you know, crazy. But that's not really your top. And then you have a range. And then you find where do most people end up within this range. You could have a range within the range. We go from here to here, most people end up between here and here. What you don't want is most people to be at the top of the range. Two reasons. One, if most people are at the top of the range, you're leaving money on the table because people would spend more. If they're already spending up here, somebody's always going to spend more. The second is the implication is you have to buy at the top of my range. And you don't want to tell people you have to buy my expensive stuff. You want to say most people buy this stuff, this is available. We are capable of this really thing here, but you don't have to buy it. Had a floral company up in Canada. She was quoting people 6,000 to 10,000 plus. Most people spend between 8 and 10. So, ooh, 6 to 10. Most people spend here. I said, don't you ever do more than 10? She goes, yeah, that's why I said plus. I said, do you do 20? She said, a few times a year. Do you do 30? She said, occasionally. I said, now we're going to say 6 to 20 plus. Most of our couples spend between 8 and 10. Doesn't that sound better? You can do 20. You're probably not going to, but you could. That's where price range becomes your friend. This is a client of mine in Pennsylvania. Getting tire kickers all day long. Why? Beautiful photos. It's called the Lake House Inn. It's on the lake, as you would figure. It's a beautiful house. We reduced the tire kickers by saying weddings go from $34,000 to $82,000 May to October, and $29,000 to $52,000 November to April. And it says it's the estate wedding package, food and more package, optional overnight room, fire pit, and after party. Very high level of what you're getting. Not a lot of detail at all on that. Okay? That reduced their inquiries significantly, which reduced the tours significantly. The people that were getting sticker shock when they were told how much it was. And the sales went up 50%. Because the only people reaching out are within that range. Now, it doesn't stop someone with 200 guests from thinking it's $34,000. But let's have that conversation, because we could also go November to April, and now they're 34 buys more, right? And different things like that. This is a DJ. Packages go from $1,500 to $4,000, with the most popular package starting at $2,500. How much do you think you're going to pay? $2,500, right? You might pay $4,000. You might come in and say it's a Tuesday in March and end up paying $1,500, right? But you probably would pay $2,500 because we just said the most popular package is $2,500. It's transparency without the full detail. Here's another one. This is photo booth. Photo booth packages range from $950 to $1,500, with the most popular package being $1,150. Same thing. How much do you think you're going to spend? Probably $1,150. It's not as big of a range. But your most valuable inventory is not on those packages. Your most valuable inventory is your calendar. Because your calendar doesn't move. Remember what happened last year? 2022? Right? Nobody told the calendar that all these couples wanted to get married on top of the couples that were normally going to get married. There's the 2020s that went to 2021, that went to 2022, and all of a sudden, we didn't have any more Saturdays, did we? I had a client of mine in Illinois, venue. She said something I've never heard in 30 years in the business. She said, Alan, I'm running out of Thursdays to sell. I said, you're never going to hear that again. You're not, but you heard it last year because the calendar didn't move. And couples like, what date do you have? Well, those days are over. We have to go back to selling. We have to go back to converting the leads that we're getting. So what is your calendar inventory? How many weddings do you want to do? I had this DJ I was consulting with. He was going from part-time to full-time. I said, how many weddings do you want to do next year? He said, as many as possible. I said, wrong answer. You have no idea what your inventory is. As many as possible is not an answer. Right, as many as possible is 365, theoretically, but it's not, because people don't get married every day of the year, and you're not going to do 365 weddings if you want to be alive at the end of the year, right? But what's the number? What's the number that makes sense? That was for me, like I said, 2019, when I was away 178 nights. My calendar looked amazing until I had to live it. And then I'm flying all over the country and all over the world and never home, and like, this wasn't worth it. And then I was home 16 months. I went from being away half the year to being home for 16 months. We're still married. It's because I had a door on my office. It's a glass door. But you have to know your inventory. So how many weddings or events do you need to do to make a profit? Do you know what your break-even point is? Do you know at this point, with this many at this many dollars, we're now making more profit because the overhead is covered? What if you only filled the most popular dates? See, if I owned a wedding venue, I would want to be able to make a profit, a good profit, if I only booked that many weddings. Where I live, probably here similar, May to October, the most popular dates, Saturday, the most popular day. If I only booked those Saturdays, we would be making a profit. I would price it that way. And then if we decided to do more weddings, they'd all be more profitable. But some people need to do this to make money. And when you do that, you burn your people out, you wear out your equipment.